Well, hello everybody. We're now in the studio with Steve, and he's tell me about yourself.
Well, American. I'm an entrepreneur, mainly in tech startups, but from Chicago.
Yeah.
In Berlin because of my startup, and ultimately, came here because we wanted to grow in Europe.
Yeah.
But some failures and successes, and yeah.
I've heard there was like a crazy story. You what's your startup was about? So you like kind of met in the US and then made it all the way to Europe somehow.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's helpful to tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm adopted, and so I was born in Korea. Yeah. Kind of a crazy story, like found by a bus stop at 3 days old.
Dude.
Yeah.
Is this like one of those Disney stories, right?
No, actually it was kind of common in Korea, because we were like, I'm repping the Nike Korea hat today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of common back then. Like a lot of people just didn't have money, so
what year was that?
85. December 85.
That was by year for Korea, right?
Exactly.
Was it like the whole decade, or like how long was this time?
I would say, I would be inaccurate to say if I knew the exact time, but basically 80s, early 90s. My sister's adopted as well from a different agency. Yeah. But they didn't have anything. They were poor. So I think why I say that is because anyone who I've ever met that's adopted has like a kind of self-complex about themselves, and it's always about like self-worth. And so I've kind of had that hustler mentality. I got lucky. I came to Chicago when I was 6 months old, and I actually started my first business at 12 years old. So
this sounds crazy, man.
Yeah, I was, and even before that, I was like, my parents, do the lemonade stand. Everybody does a lemonade stand, but
yeah.
Everyone was back then like selling it for a quarter. Yeah. And I actually, because they were all my friends, my parents' friends, I sold each cup for $1.
Right.
I was like 5, I was trying to hustle and make money. So, but yeah, my dad made me, work because he was in a corporate job. He's like, get out there, hustle. And so I started a lawn business when I was 12.
Yeah. Wow.
And
so you'd say like this whole thing was literally just about like the fact that somehow you didn't feel like you're good enough for your new parent. But was it like for the world, or just like for the parents that you had?
Probably for others first, and then really finding out more about myself. Just like you got to always prove myself, and so that's how I always wanted to be successful. I wouldn't say versus a lot of people I'm super successful, but I always wanted to do something and prove to other people that
Do you feel like with time this whole like feeling kind of goes away, or it stays with you?
No. And I can't speak for others, but for myself, no. Like friends that I've grew up with, we're all like super competitive with each other, and even still, I think the people that are closest to you, if you're running the right circles, like you always want to, if you're in the right circles, you always want to continue to make each other better. But I think for me, I always want to make myself as best as I could be. So I'm constantly trying to compare myself into more and more successful people, and that's not just about business. That's about life too.
Like what's I mean, I guess my question would be like, what is then success in general? Like, I mean, like you've accomplished some sort of like a big deal actually compared to like a lot of people, like if you think,
it's relative,
not to all people, right? But like,
it's relative.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely something to like, talk about. But where, like, do you feel like there could be a limit to that, like in general, or you think like it's just some sort of like just like never-ending story for like forever, kind of feel this way in a way? I mean, I know it's a tough question to answer.
It's a tough question. I'd say it probably doesn't end for me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
you don't feel like there's any kind of choice, like, or like sort of like conscious decision that you could make or something.
I hope so, because I hope to be. I think success is really about happiness.
Okay.
And that's really at the eye of the beholder. I think before all I cared about was money before I came to Europe.
Oh, okay.
And that's definitely changed now. You know, I have a son. He's 1.
Yeah.
Family was always really important to me. That was the first thing that I wanted to accomplish. And now it's kind of going to, especially during this pandemic, realize like what's important. So what's success to me today? I feel like I kind of break things down into like several systems. I'm kind of weird about like
no, that's totally fine. Yeah.
Business, health, and family.
Yeah.
And so
you're trying to balance this kind of pillars of.
Yeah, I think people use balance as like a way to really explain happiness.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I want to be the best dad, the best friend, you know, the best husband, etc. But also like, I want to be super healthy.
Right. You go like you do gym or you're like
normally if it wasn't COVID. In Germany.
Tell me about it. I'm like thirsty, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thirsty for weights, man.
That's true. I definitely honestly, it's the first time in 7 years that I haven't worked out, and like I just started working out again. I don't like going outside. I like going to the gym. But like a lot of people say you can't do everything. Right. And everything to me are those 3 big things: business, family, and health. So I guess that's my equation to whether or not you're successful. To me, those are really important things. But again, that's not everyone else's happiness.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Tell me more about this whole the business that you did. I mean, from the like what was there? So I mean, like did your family play some kind of role in this, or just sort of like all by yourself kind of made it through?
Actually, more so my friends. I think my dad was like a successful like corporate guy. And we actually opened a pizza shop when I was in 4th grade. So I saw him also doing both. We failed.
Good that you didn't get fat, man.
No, kind of when I was kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But no, actually, I went to school, and I think the thing that changed me was probably the job I had also with building this lawn and snowmobile removal business. Right. I was a caddy. And so I was always caddying for these people. I was like 15 years old. These people, I always thought that were rich because my dad were like, oh yeah, successful people are doctors, lawyers. Right. And then I realized I'm like, no, everybody who's really wealthy is like an entrepreneur. Yeah. And then I was always kind of fascinated because I love how things work. So I graduated school, I work a little bit, and actually my first tech startup, and that was my first real startup, was with my best friend for a few years.
Yeah, what did you guys do?
We did, it was in real estate, and in Chicago, and basically we wanted to solve how to find an apartment more efficiently. And so we weren't technical, I'm still not technical to this day, but partner and I, we got into what's called like a tech accelerator. It's basically like, they invest in you. It's a program with other startups that you work together. Okay.
Well, was it funded by who?
It's actually Romanian.
Oh,
and so,
really?
Yeah. So we got into this program in Bucharest, Romania. Yeah. And so that was nuts because I actually had never been to Europe and I hadn't traveled much until then. Typical American, but we moved across the world.
Well, that's okay. It's like far away, man.
Well, to Eastern Europe is different. That was like.
Yeah, tell me about it, man.
That was nuts actually, because I had never seen some things that we kind of grew up in like a cookie cutter suburb, and and then I go to like Bucharest, Romania, and I'm like, what is going on? I've been there
the other year, like 2 years ago. God, dude, like this shit looks bad. Like,
well, I mean, it was just like even 2 years ago, it wasn't as bad as like this was 7.
God.
Well, there was like crazy like dogs walking around all over the place, wild, and like seeing how like people kind of interact and very. I kind of understand kind of like short-term mentality versus kind of like
I think it's like when you're really short on money, like you don't have this like
you just think
big
about
dreams, dude. You just need, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so that was crazy. We built the product there. We had raised some money, and ultimately, I was a very, very cocky guy when I was young. So I was like 25 and a half at that time, 26. And basically we failed pretty hard, you know? So that was the most humbling experience in my life, because my own money, my family's money, you know, investors' money. And, most importantly, just failing, like when everybody was like, hey, like, why are you going to go like do, you know, why are you going to go build a business? Like, why are you going to go move across the halfway of the world? I'm like, and so that was really humbling for me. And it's actually like, I don't know, kind of seems like the right thing to do, you know, in a way. You just gotta go.
Just there is an opportunity, a crazy opportunity.
There's a crazy opportunity. Let's just go for it. And then we ended up failing. So it was kind of like what most people fear. Like everyone says, like, I told you so, or at least they think about that.
Yeah, right. Oh God, I hate this, man. I hate this.
But at the end of the day, it's just because I think most people are insecure.
That's what I think.
They would love to take a chance, but they don't. But I mean,
what you do, you fail. Like this
you
is
fail,
this
and
is the,
you know, we basically. I figured out a lot about myself, but you know, I was gonna go back to get into finance again, and I was like trading and stuff, and I had no money. I was so broke, and I was like, what am I gonna do next?
Did you have to like pay all this, like the money to the investors and like
no,
friends
we didn't
and
have to
family
do
and
that.
stuff? Like,
we didn't have to do that.
Like
and obviously friends and family, you know, they forgive you. They're also the ones that, you know, if they take a chance, they know that highly unlikely they're gonna get their money back.
Not gonna be a big chance.
Exactly.
They're not gonna see it again. It's like never loan money to anybody, right?
No. So I was in a dark place. When I was talking about health, I was never been fat in my entire life, or obese, whatever you want to call it. And so I was 40 pounds heavier. Okay. And
like your normal sort of state.
Normal state. Just over the final years, like I couldn't eat everything that I wanted. And then I was kind of like, I was doing this shitty job. Like hustling for, you know, tips and stuff. And I was like, what am I going to do in life?
You
like,
back in the US,
girlfriend,
right?
Back in the US. My girlfriend at the time was like, wasn't going well. And then
they'll stick around when you're good, right? When you're in a shit, the fan, they're gone, man.
What are you gonna do? And then like, I don't know, there's these cliche sayings that like happen. So my dad was like, you know, when things, you know, you just got to keep going. Things that happen for a reason. And I hate when people say that, but sometimes it's true.
Yeah, it's so weird.
So I like basically serendipitously connected with my two partners at the time. They started my current business, and then 6 months later they were looking for a partner, you know, an owner to
and they just took you right in just like that.
I mean, I had to sell them on, you know, one was technical, one was very operational, but they weren't
like sort of like
like like a consultant. Really buy the book and whatnot, and I was like, dude, I can sell what we have. Like I believe in what you guys are doing. Like, let's join. And we were same story, you know, we were working out of each other's apartments. We had just raised some money. They had just raised some money, I should say. And I was like, let's give this a go. So that was in Chicago over 7 years ago. And, you know, then we just, you know, we're in like this interesting business. It's like the used machinery business. It's the sexiest business in the world.
Is it?
No, it's not.
I mean, for the hot chicks next to him.
Exactly. No, it's a weird business, but it's an old school business. It's like these people who, you know, they don't use computers a lot, and it's relationship based. And I was like traveling around to earn people's business, and we were just, you know, growing really quickly.
Right.
And then I kind of said, well, like, I was going back and forth a little bit to Europe. So you're just like basically selling all this like constructional machines. Well, so our platform is essentially when it started was it's called a search engine, which basically we connect buyers and sellers of used machinery. But our business model is we sell subscriptions to the website saying, hey, you have machines. How about like you list them on our site, and then we charge you for an annual membership, right? You pay us a year, and we'll send you more customers, right?
So they don't have to worry about SEO and all this crap that people have to go through.
No. So we give them high quality buyers, and that continued to grow, and we were starting to get some international clients, especially in Europe.
Good. Yeah.
And then I was like, I had been to Germany, but I had never been to Berlin. And I was like, dude, we gotta go.
You gotta go.
Both personally, I was like, I mean,
another trip to Europe, right?
Another trip to Europe for a long time. I had no idea what we were gonna do.
I'd never been to Berlin. Now? How
long? Just over 4 years. Now, and I actually had to beat the German system. Sorry to say that. We're being quiet about that, but
nobody's gonna know.
Nobody's gonna know. But basically, we didn't have I didn't have a way of getting a visa.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out a way, like get a visa here to stay here, because at least Americans, we have like a 90-day, like you can only stay in Europe for 90 days. But I was going back and forth, and I'm like, I have 30 days left. And I'm actually, while all this is going on. So I'm as you know, risk taker. The wife I have now, and we met very serendipitously. Maybe that's a story for another time, but long and short of it, I was traveling in Asia, and we met. When I say met, we actually never met in person. Okay. Whoa. And then she moves to Chicago. She's American.
Wait. So you
want to hear the story?
Wait. This is
I gotta go. I didn't want to go off the tangent, but basically, my friend who's an entrepreneur, and is like a cyclical business, so it's in the summer. In the winter, we went for a month to run around Asia and just go see Asia. I'd never been, and basically, I was on Tinder, and then swiping right, not thinking anything of it, just trying to meet people, and and 2 months later, she messaged me when I was working in the US, and she's like, hey, I don't know, she tells a different story than I do, but it was actually Valentine's Day, right? Messaged me, and I'm like, who the hell is that 8,000 miles away? Who's messaged me? And so I started talking to her. We talked for 5 months, and she was like, I'm gonna come back to US, I've been in Asia for 3 years, beautiful. But she's American. She's actually she's American. She was born in Iran. She's Persian.
Okay. Persians, beautiful nation.
She is. I got lucky there, but no, so I convinced her to, I'm like, you know what, let's meet. All right, so we finally meet after talking for 5 months. It goes well, and this is the August, and she's like, we meet, it was everything we said it was, because we were just we were just in love, I guess, and crazy. And she moved in 2 weeks later, which is kind of nuts. And then about a month after that, I was like, yo, we gotta move to Berlin. I was like, we gotta go to Berlin, you know?
Did you know I had tickets for Berlin for tomorrow?
And she's like, all right, let's go. I'll support you, and let's do it. So
she sounds like a good lady, man.
It was, she trusted me. It was crazy. So we moved to Berlin. I had no plan other than just being determined that I'm going to continue to build this company, and we're going to grow. And we had a couple employees that were working remotely in Europe, and I just told them, you got to move here. You got to move to Berlin. We chose Berlin because, naturally it's we're in machinery, so Germany, but hey, we want a cheaper place. Let's go to Berlin. Let's go to a place that's international to hire different, we do business all over Europe. So we need people to speak different languages. Let's go there. I hadn't been there, but I'm like, we're going to go there. And that was just over 4 years ago, and basically continued to grow. And then, it'll be 3 years ago, actually, in August. We sold our business. We got acquired by a public company.
Did you just decided to
my partner kind of got sick, real sick, so we decided to sell the business. And I'm obviously still with the business, but these are kind of the things that you realize, business is great, health and family are number one. You never know what's going to happen in life, but yeah, I mean, it's been over 7 years. It's like crazy how fast things go, but yeah, 7 years.
How much did you sell your business for, this whole thing?
25 million.
25 million. That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like, how are you still like involved?
Yeah, so I handle all of our international sales. So anything outside of U.S. and Canada, you know, we've sent sales reps to live in Chile, Mexico, China, and the company that bought us is international. It's a U.S. company, but we have an office in Shanghai, Toronto now. So I guess it's kind of crazy when you talk about it, because it's not. It's just like you're like doing it, and you're just like, oh yeah, we will, like, you know, grow there or something. But no, I mean, and again, you know, it's not a lot of money versus a lot of other startups, but you know, I learned quite a bit. I think you learn a lot about. The hardest thing about business is not like the business; it's actually just managing people. It's just people.
Yeah.
So
I mean, would you say like because I figured, like, from my experience, like I don't finding the right like stuff in your company, like the right people's going to work for you, is kind of like,
it's the hardest thing.
Basically, it's another addition to your liabilities. I mean, I feel like because like you have to spend so much money on like trying to find the right people, and then you like, you know, and then they spend your money, and then you're like, oh dude, like, what is this?
I think there is
what is your approach like actually to like finding the right people?
I think it's a very different approach. Americans think about building business much different than, I'd say, like Europeans.
Okay.
In which way? The main reason is it's not about money, actually. It's about, I mean, to an extent, it's actually about time. So, you know, whether we pay someone €3,000 a month, €10,000 a month, it's really about how much time am I going to have to invest in the person or persons. And time is something you never get back, right? So if someone we pay, let's say, we'll make it simpler for numbers. We pay someone $3,000, we pay someone $9,000, right? Right. If the person we pay $9,000 takes me 3 months to basically train them to do what they need to do, right? You know, we're out. What's that? 27 grand, right? Yeah. If it takes me, you know, well, I should say it the other way around. If I pay someone $9 grand in 1 month and they learn everything they need to know, it's much better than paying someone $3 grand for 3 months to get them to learn what they need to know. Right. I'd rather spend 2/3 less time and pay someone more money. Because time is the most valuable thing. I totally feel what you're saying. I mean, it's just sometimes you pay someone more because you think they're more experienced, and then something happens, it just doesn't work out, right? And then you're like, oh, like this is kind of strange. And then you pay someone less because they just don't because they don't like value themselves as much for some, I don't know, magic reason. And then it's just working out somehow for like, maybe they even like less experience, but then just shit works out, and then you're like, you know what I mean? It's very true. I think experience, it depends on if you. I think that's the thing about a starter. If you're smart's a very subjective thing. If you're really smart, like you can articulate yourself well, you can be independent and do things on your own where you don't need someone to guide you and tell you what to do. I mean, you don't need to have experience. Like, I don't come from the used machinery business. Nor did my two partners. You know how to use them, right? And yet we built a decent business because you just have to hustle. I think you have to be really hardworking, which is also subjective. You have to be obsessive. And these are things that are really hard to, I guess, evaluate in an interview. Right? That's like, true. Oh, someone went to Harvard, and you know, like, who knows, they've worked this job and this job. That stuff doesn't really matter when you're in a startup. Totally. It's kind of. I feel like it's in the eyes. You know what I mean? Like when you talk to somebody, you can really like say if this person is, you know, crazy. You know what I mean? Like really going for it. You know what I mean? Or just like another normal suit in the in the office. Exactly. I actually had a question. So I know there's a lot of people, like young people right now, trying to be entrepreneurs. It's kind of like a new thing, you know what I mean? Like everybody's trying to, you know, do the business stuff. What would you say, like, what do you do
to get money for your business, like to raise money for your business, like but like in the way of like what could be like the actual steps? Like you wake up, you sit in your bed and you think like, shit, like this is a great idea. What do you do? Like what's the next step?
Well, so if that was the actual scenario, you always want to test it. You want to see if your thesis is right. So it's like, hey, I'm coming up with this new, I don't know, this new business idea, right? The last thing you want to do is like, you know, write some business plan and write it all out and spend hours of time and do all these things. Like at the end of the day, you're like, hey, let's just say this idea, I can connect this person and that person and sell it, right? Yeah. Super high level. Well, then go do it. Like go find the buyer, find the seller, and see if you can connect the two and actually see if there's value. Like you don't need a business plan for that. If it works, then try it again. If it works again, okay, now might be time to get more serious, right? So I think that's so it's like just finding like a very simple blueprint for doing something, like for example in this case, like finding the buyer and the seller and somehow connecting them. This would be like a sort of first thing to do, but like in a way, you basically finding their minimal. What's the minimal? What's the MVP? Product, right?
Minimal viable product.
It doesn't even have to be a product. Like you don't need to say, oh dude, I don't have money. Like I want to build this product and I don't have technical experience and all that stuff at the end of the day can be solved with money. But before that, you got to see if like you can even do it manually, right? So it's like, oh, I have this great idea. It's like, okay, cool. Well, can you actually connect what you're doing or sell the product like without any other thing? Or you know, would you say like for the starters it's like always that easy? It should be that easy as like really like sort of grabbing this person, that person, and just kind of connecting them. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're selling.
I mean, I guess if you're like really big, if you're like a corporation and trying to enter a new business, I guess it's a whole different story. Right. But if you just like a random, like a normal, like, I don't know, just like a guy,
you know, if you, I mean, it depends on what you're doing, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, you need to be able to sell your product or service, right? Maybe it's a new way of like yoga and you're like, oh, well, I can't afford a studio. And like, I you know, I don't have this and I have that. Like the truth of the matter is when you don't have money, you are the most creative. Yeah, that's true. This is also true. I think at the end of the day, like money, it's like more money, more problems, you know, like, so can you do something? And that really, I mean, if you're ever going to get money from someone else that's not your mom or dad or significant other or someone, like you need to hustle. Like you need to figure out, okay, I got this new like yoga concept, right? Well, how can I, you know, hustle my way around, or go on Facebook, build a group, build a community, see like go outside, or I don't even know, maybe it's inside. It's like maybe, you know, a friend to a friend like has 100 different things, 100 different ways to like try to make it work. Most people don't do that, and that's why they, you know, at the end of the day don't start a business because it's hard to fail. Like you know, but I'll tell you that if you have that perseverance, you know, I mean, if it's like, hey, you know, I want to open a pizza shop, but I don't have the money to open the shop. You know, what's the first thing you probably do? Well, you probably, you know, make the cool pizzas, you make them for your friends, they like them, and then you're like, okay, well maybe I can go to like a yard sale and start selling them, and then you sell that, and then you build up. And at that point you're like, okay, well now I know people want it. Now what do I do? Okay, well, do you want to open a restaurant? Do you want to build a franchise? Like, do you want to build like a tech product that like, I don't know, what do you want to do? And that will then tell you like, okay, well, how much money do I need, right? And you always, in business, things always take longer and cost more money. I feel like this is just a rule for life, man. That's the rule for life. Everything happens. Exactly. At least 1/3 more, like 1/3 of money you have to spend more. At least. So probably, you know, I think that's that hustle. You'll find the people. I mean, at the end of the day, if you need an investment, you need to build relationships because you're at such an early stage that you can have a business plan, but things aren't going to go with the business plan says, or
Definitely
else
not,
it'd be
man.
like, let's just go to business school and then we'll be successful. Like most people,
Yeah,
that's not the case,
no,
right?
no.
So, you know, at the end of the day,
It's like writing KPI without having a business. So like,
you can write anything into a spreadsheet. Like it's trust, you know, people, relationships are everything. So if you are serious about a business, people will give you money because they trust you. That's it. Like, you know, they know they're not going to really get rich because it's a high risk investment. But at the end of the day, if they believe in you, you'll get money. And there's plenty of people in town that have money, you know, and it's like, well, how much money? It's like, well, I mean,
what's the next
do you
step?
sound like, and here's how, like, okay, so I make some investments, right? Not primarily, only in tech. So some things I look at are, you know, and I've seen hundreds, if not at this point, maybe 1,000 startups, because, you know, I try to mentor at different places and try to give back. And at the end of the day, is a person seem trustworthy? Do they seem like they have a vision to know what they want to do? And again, you know, do they sound responsible with what they're going to do with your money?
Exactly.
Do they sound like they have a plan? And the plan doesn't always work out, but at least they've thought about the plan.
Right.
And that's pretty rich, important. Man. And that's it, right? I think some people think like, oh, well, you're an investor, you should just give me money. It's like, well, but
it's always like, if you, when you just like your whole life, when you work for somebody, it's a whole different story when you actually start hiring people, you know what I mean? It's like, I think only when I started to like actually look at people and like think of like how would they work for me and like actually spending money on them, I realized like what's actually important in the, you know, on an interview if I would right now go and try to apply somewhere. And it's such a like it's just a different mentality, man. So it's like it's just like it's a whole another world.
Let's
it's like,
talk about exactly like how we're here right now. At the end of the day, you're a hustler. You know, you go on, you're in this group and you're like, hey, you know, here's what I'm doing, and you have a great response, and it's like, well, okay, now I need to figure out like how am I going to set this up, you know? And like, you just figure it out. And the people who don't are the people who are still thinking like, oh, I'd like to do this, and maybe it's because they're scared of trying, but you just figure it out.
Sure. I feel like, but it's also like with me personally, I feel like it's always been a matter of an idea, because there's a lot of ideas that are coming through my head, obviously, but I don't believe them quite as much, or like I know they kind of don't like worth as much to like pursue them in a way, and then I feel that I have to wait for the right idea to come to me, but then I'm like sometimes not sure if it's gonna come ever. Or like, for example, I have a goal, like I don't know, let's be like this struggle, like I want to be a rock star, right? And then it's a complicated way, you know what I mean? This is you don't know, like it's just random, right? And then but the steps, but there are actual steps that you have to take, right? But then I feel like sometimes I'd rather not take any steps or not take any action, but then just think about what quality actions I could do later, or like sort of find this idea that I know it's with a big probability is going to work, you know what I mean? Because like, for example, if I'm gonna, I don't know, have a blog about music right now, like it's not gonna work. I don't know, I mean there could be, but it's just like very, it's you know, it's just like a very saturated niche, and it's only like very narrow, you know, it's just for musicians, right? And then it's just like it's getting more and more complicated, you know, with each step. And I could have plenty of ideas, but then like going after the right ideas, or like having the right ideas in the first place, I feel like for me personally, that makes whole, you know, this whole like the difference between taking action, not taking action, like, because I feel like hustling for the idea that is like, you know what I mean, you can hustle all you want, man, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think then there's some context to that, because ideas never make you rich. It's all about, or you know, successful for that matter, it's all about execution. And the only way you're going to execute and get through the failures is, are you passionate about what you're doing? Like, is this idea, I would also, you know, kind of, I'll give you an example. I have a friend who is going after this, what you said, basically blogging about, he was like, well, I want to do a podcast. I'm like, what do you want to do a podcast about? He's like, I don't know, I just love travel, right? I was like, well, there's a lot of those out there. He's like, well, I don't care. I just love doing it. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. I'm going to do it. And he was so obsessive about it.
Right.
And now he has over, like, I think 250,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's been doing it for 18 months because he's obsessive.
Well, crazy, man.
And he, you know, and let's talk about, we're in a pandemic.
Yeah,
Let's talk about travel, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like because he just was so passionate about, he just loves it. He didn't even care. He wants to be successful, but he also, like, you know, he's a successful entrepreneur. And I think it's one of those mindsets of, if you're going to do something, you got to go 100. Yeah. And if not, then you're just probably going to stop doing it because you don't really care
for
if
sure.
you succeed or not.
I feel like, I mean, I never had this problem. Like, I always knew what I wanted to do in a way. I mean, I not always knew the ways to, like, go there and get what I wanted, like the actual steps that I told you before. But I always, like, it was always obvious to me, right? It's just, I don't even know. Like, but there's a lot of people that, I mean, I'll say most of the people, they have a problem of, like, not having this sort of fixed idea or goal, and then I feel like a lot of them are trying to have it, or like they say, oh God, I wish I would be so, like, I wish I'd know what to do like you, then I would, like, totally do it, and, like, blah blah blah. And then they're kind of, I don't know, beating themselves up because of that. But then in a way, being, like, so focused and so obsessive about something is also, like, I feel like sometimes, God, dude, I wish I just chill. I don't know. I wish I maybe just go to parks and hang out with friends and just, you know, whatever people do. Like, instead of that, I'm, like, I don't know, writing blog on my website, doing this, doing that, you know, just doing, like, they're having fun and I'm, like, not, you know what I mean? Then you think, what is that makes you, you know, why this idea came to your mind in the first place? Like, you get obsessed with it and you just, like, can't let it go. It's just, there's no way you can let it go. It's just in there, you know what I mean? It's, like, in there for good. And yeah, I guess I don't know what to say to these people, because, like, from one side, I mean, it's kind of great because you're, like, living the life of, like, so you feel like you're going, like, there's a point and you're going there, and it's probably never gonna, like, it's always gonna be somewhere there and you're always gonna go there in a way, which is, I feel like, great because you're, like, on the way, right? But then also, I mean, there's a whole another side to that when you, I don't know. Is there, because, I mean, I think it's more like an existential question of, like, this is what we talked about before about happiness and stuff, you know, as, like, is there an answer to that, or we could still do whatever we do in a way of, like, being obsessive about the goal and stuff, but somehow find this spot inside where we could just feel like we're, like, you know, we're in the moment, like we're in the moment where we don't have to rush there, mentally, but still, like, we could do the things that we do anyway, like, we could be obsessive, but then we always sort of, like, mentally in the place where we're still, you know, like, where you're not, like, sort of, like, you know what I'm talking about, like, not obsessive in a bad way, not like,
I mean, I don't think I guess obsessive kind of has a negative connotation, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm just a really curious person. Yeah. And that maybe makes me obsessive about things because I just want to understand, like, why it is. Which, you know, I mean, I guess everyone's different, right? But if we're going all the way back to, like, well, okay, someone has an idea, you know, they want to raise money, they want to do something. It's like, the reason why certain people decide to do something on their own is because they, like, really believe in it, you know? And you could do that at your own pace. You can be happy, right? Like, I mean, we're in a continent and a country where if you try to compare it to other places in the world, like the US, or if you go to Asia's going, like, 900 miles an hour, you know? You don't stop. Like, everything's always subjective, because if you were to put yourself 1 month and live in Shanghai, you would be like, Europe is literally at a turtle speed. you know, and then you'd realize you never miss something you've never had.
Yeah.
And you never miss something you've never experienced. So everything is subjective. When you say like, hey, I'm going so fast, it's stressful, I don't want to go about that. And then you put yourself into another environment.
Yeah.
You know, I've been fortunate to be able to travel to a lot of different places. And like, at the end of the day, you know, going to a place like India was like the craziest experience of my life, because not only is it fast, it's like, if you live in a Western world, you're lucky. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
And I don't know, my take is no one should be stressed in Europe, because you have everything you want and everything you need. You should never really be stressed. You don't have to do anything. You want to go slow and maybe work today and maybe not, you could just say, I'm sick. You can't do that in other places in the world, right? One, because you may not have a roof over your head, right?
Yeah,
so it's I don't really have, maybe that's callous, I don't really have empathy for that. I think because I've been for you know, the whole mentality of like, I don't want to be stressed. Stress is such a subjective thing. You know, mainly because I've just seen so much. And then I try to like ask myself like, what are you're stressed about waiting in line at the grocery store? Or because you have to go send an email for in 30 minutes and you might be late. It's like, what do I, who cares, right? Like, or, oh shit, I'm waiting in line to get food because if I don't get food today, I won't eat. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, like, I guess, God, in the end of the day, for me, it's more like also about curiosity, you know. Like, I feel like actually sending this email, you know, or like being in the situations kind of make me learn something or like be curious about something. And I feel like this like stress thing, the way we just talked about, is kind of, for me, it kind of fades away little by little. I feel like before some time, I had like I had this feeling like if I'm stressed, then it means that I'm doing something. And if I'm like chill, I feel like nothing's happening, you know what I mean? Or like I'm in the play, like what am I actually doing? Like, and I'm starting to like, you know, kind of rev myself up, you know, to this state of like, okay, now I'm like in action. But then recently, after some time ago, I started coming to this like feeling of like, you could do the same shit you do with the same speed. You could be like, you know, sped up. You could be like, you could do shit really fast, but then be in the mindset of like complete, like you just contemplate it. You know what I mean? Like just you could live in a different reality. Like I feel like this whole kind of an existential question of like, you know, people talk about like, oh, this is what's like different reality, like travel between realities and stuff. And to me, it's like different realities are here. They're not some magical another, like there's no portal to a different reality. It's like it's in you. Like there, you wake up, you have a like, I don't know, bad morning, everything goes through shit and like blah blah blah, and it's raining, and then you go to a place and it's closed and you're like, I'm not, you know, it's just this, everything kind of comes together. But then, dude, like you could have been in a whole different reality if you just look at it from the beginning in a different way. And then all of these bad things or things that are like not good for you wouldn't happen in the first place, because you would just be in completely different mindset. Maybe you wouldn't go to this place in the first place, right? And then, so I feel like you could really do the same things in the same speed. You could really be fast, you know, like, because I feel like in business and like entrepreneurship is in general, like speed is kind of a important thing. But you could be in the place mentally where you just still, like, as I told you, like really more like contemplating about like what you're doing, be in the reality where you're happy, where you're going down the street, but you don't like feel stressed. Okay, I'm going there, we have to meet this like guy, and then they have to meet partners, and have to call this guy, and then I have to send email, and then there's a lot of people stressing themselves up like all the time, man. You know what I mean?
They're not living in the moment.
You know, you
think,
can do the same shit.
I think
but
I
like,
might get what you're saying. Is the reality is you might be doing 500 things. And most people would be stressed, or you could be focused that whatever that actual thing out of the 500 you're doing, you could be calm. You know? And part of that might be, do you like what you're doing? like if you don't like what you're doing, you might have 5 steps and it might be dreadful, you know, and you might think you're going. I mean, here's the concept of time, right? You know, when you like, you're waiting to do something that you want to leave, and you're just watching the clock, and it's like minutes are going by that seem like an eternity.
Oh my God, tell me about it. Working shit jobs and looking at the clock, you know what?
Right? Or you do something that you really enjoy and time flies.
Yeah.
Right? And you might have been doing a lot of things, but really you the concept of time is super interesting, right? But part of that is like, are you happy doing it, right? So I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how we got in this conversation, but no, I mean, I agree. Time can go really slow when you might not be enjoying that time, you know. So
also kind of weird. I had this also, I feel like sometimes actually the other way around. Like, I remember when I just came to Berlin, because I also had like a funny story. I came here because well, I was living in Moscow for quite a while, and God, I just hated this place, man. I was just like, I didn't want to go somewhere. I just I don't know. It's not.
Why did you not like it? Why didn't you?
It's just not my people. Not my type of communication between people. Not my type of mentality.
What's
I mean, they're all like super. They're like
Russia,
they're very
so
okay. So Russia is like there is Russia and there is Moscow and St. Petersburg, right? And this is like, I don't know. This is a different world, right? So Moscow is more of a like very like hustler mentality in a way. They're all just kind of like, in the end of things, they focus on money, right? And they all try to work hard and do stuff, and you know, be in the different, I don't know, like just they live in a different reality. Whereas St. Petersburg is more like Berlin. People are chill, smoking way, I don't know, just enjoying life. It's kind of gray there, but whatever, they get by. But the thing with Moscow, like, what was for me was gonna be frustrating, because like I see a lot of people do, like, they're trying to do shit every second. They're like working for money, trying to get money, blah, money, and then get money, but like they're not trying to make stuff with this money. Like they would, for example, they would make a business, but not because they want to make a world a better place, or because they want to achieve themselves something greater, or because they want to feel like they build something good for people, for themselves, for I don't know, for the community. They just want to get money. They just want to get money. You know what I mean? And this was just like, I was just like, why are you doing this? Like, you're running there somewhere with like light speed, working all the time, trying to get this cash for what? Like, you don't. What do you do with the cash? You know what I mean? Like, what's this whole, like, why do you do that?
It's very similar to New York.
I felt like they're kind of similar a little bit. So anyway, so it was kind of just couldn't be there anymore. I felt, because I'm a musician, right? And I'm like, dude, I live in a just completely, I'm in a different universe.
More creative.
I'm like totally in a different spot. And I was like, I want to go somewhere. I just feel like I had no connection whatsoever to outside world. You know what I mean? To any country, any city, nothing, like literally. And then I met this guy who's like a friend of my parents. And he was funny. He was an actor, and he was like around like 50 something. So we're like with him, drinking vodka and playing video games.
Of course, you're drinking vodka.
yeah. Like, classical story, right? And then so we talk, and then he's like going like, oh yeah, I lived in Berlin for like 15 years, and you know. It's kind of cool. There's a lot of artists and stuff and blah blah, and that's the point I realized this dude, like this funny guy, is the only connection for me to get anywhere, to like just jump out of the swamp. You know what I mean? And
was it hard to get in, or how did you do that?
I would actually, well, I have a Lithuanian passport. Yeah, through my mother. Yeah, so I don't really have like I don't really have document issues. This one thing I'm lucky for. Like, I don't have that.
Right.
But I didn't feel like I need to prepare myself too much.
Right.
So I literally like bought tickets,
and just went.
In 2 weeks I was gone, man. I took my suitcase, my guitar, and said ciao. I'm like not staying here any more seconds of my life. Dude, it was crazy. I mean, like, honestly, like on the day when I had to fly, I was just like, fucking chill, man. Because I did no preparations whatsoever. I mean, like, I found one guy for on couch surfing that I could like stay at for like 5 days. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that was it, man. I took $200 and went on the plane, dude. I'm like, I remember this day. I'm like on the plane, raising up, and I'm like literally thinking about nothing, man. Because my past life is in the past. And my future life is just kind of on the other end of this plane ride, you know what I mean? And it didn't start yet. I'm like literally looking at the clouds and thinking like, there is nothing to think
honestly,
about. Like,
I don't think I've met someone, I'm trying to think, who just like packed up and left and went and never regretted that.
Dude, no.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know, I mean like just say I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
you always do,
dude. Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Figure it out.
It's like if you're stressing about stuff too much, and if you think like you have to think through all this like little steps and blah blah,
you gotta do that,
dude. You're like, you might go there, but then it's gonna be weird. You know what I mean? Yeah. You just, I mean, if you're calm inside and you know it's gonna work out, if you're like deeply inside of you, like I knew, like I'm gonna go there. I don't know shit, but I know it's gonna be fine. Like. It's gonna be okay. Nothing's gonna happen. Like, what am I like? What's the worst thing? I come back. Yeah.
Most people envy you. You know. I mean, at the end of the day, like you're just doing it for your own self. That's the the best reason.
Yeah. Nice. So I did that, and God, what was the joke? We were talking about something. That was somehow I wanted to connect that story to something else.
Well, the fact that you just up and left and came here, and I mean, now you're doing what you're doing.
What I'm doing,
like, I think it comes the full circle is just about happiness, whatever you're working on. As long as it.
Yeah, I feel like if I'd be stuck in there, man, until now, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine this reality, man. I wouldn't want to be there, man. This is too much.
So what's the point? And then you just say, I gotta go. That's the way. That's crazy. That's the way to think, though. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
It's weird, when you like don't really think about stuff, and then when you know it's gonna be okay, then it's just okay, in a way. I feel like in life and maybe in business it's also the same thing,
But that's the same as business. I think that's life. If you just keep it simple.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody successful in the three things that I'm talking about. It's just like, oh, you want to get healthy? Oh, you just like eat right and go to the gym. Yeah,
it's right out there. Like,
you just do it. Well, I can't afford a fitness center. We just go outside.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's literally what you do.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you want to find like the person you want to be with the rest of your life. It's like, well, just keep going on dates. Like, what are you doing in your house?
Yeah.
You're not gonna find anyone. Just, like, go.
Yeah.
You know,
they're there, man.
And that's the same thing. Just keep it simple. Yeah. Absolutely.
Would you say like keeping it simple for business is also like a right thing to do?
I mean, I think working hard is important. I think making sure. I think here's the thing. Business, health, family. If I live by this one mantra, and it's only with myself and to others. If you under promise and over deliver everything you do in life, you will find success in all those things.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's life's about expectations.
Yeah. Right.
That's my theory.
Yeah. Do you expect a lot from yourself when you do stuff?
Yeah. But you have to hold yourself accountable. If there's a book you should ever read, it's so I read a lot. It's called Atomic Habits. And essentially, most people put goals, and then it's like they hit the goal and they stop doing something.
Yeah.
And so the theory of this book, which I think is correct, is if you see yourself a certain way, your identity, then you will become that. So it's like, I had this bet with my friend because I'm very competitive. He said I couldn't speak German in a year. And so we made this bet. But the reality is, because it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
German, right?
The reality is that I saw myself before learning as someone who's bilingual. Well, what do I got to do if I'm bilingual? I have to literally speak every day. You know? But it's like, oh, you want to be healthy? It's like, well, what would a healthy person do? You want to be successful in business? Well, what would they do?
So you're like, I've heard about this.
You see yourself as whatever it is.
Rather than like building goals, like specific goals, you're trying to like actually come to the state where you are becoming the man or the woman of who's actually
be what you want to be. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds cliche, but it's true.
It's kind of true. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Funny. Well, guess we're a bit out on time a little bit.
Dude, it's been great.
I don't want to, you know, because you have to go tomorrow to Dubai. What's in Dubai?
Doing some business. I actually just booked the ticket like a couple days ago. We have business there. I told you my wife's Persian, so if you've ever done business in the Middle East, it's very hard.
Seriously?
Yes is no, no is yes.
Like you don't know what's up.
You don't know what's up. So I'm going there for a couple days, try to do some business and then enjoy some sun.
See what they say, right? Yes or no.
Yes or no, and then we'll figure it out later. But going there for a few days. So
absolutely. Cool. Well, it's been really great having you here.
Thanks for having me.
Like, it was super cool. Yeah, it was a good conversation.
Awesome, dude.
All right.
Thank you.
Do you wanna, if there's one message for the universe, to the people, to anything, to anybody, what would it be?
Be happy.
Be happy?
Yeah. That's it.
Great. All right. Thanks, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.